lovely Wednesday morning, the 19th day in the month of June, year 2024. Yes, I believe you all enjoyed the 2 days break you had off from work to celebrate the Eid al-Kabir. Or Sunday, did you enjoy the holidays?
Well, my Muslim brothers and sisters really took very good care of me. I've also promised them
You're
that
taking meats
very
from house to house.
Of course, it's not one now. Since I have very many Muslim friends,
okay.
you know, we are one. So it was really time for whining and dining. But then I didn't really spend much time with them because I also had to come to work.
We also had to come to
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this edition of AM Today. I'm Sunday Kolawole. Good to have you on board.
And my name is Folashade Ogidon. You know how we do it on the show. We take you through the newspaper's headlines. When we're through with the newspaper's headlines, we take a short break, then we return with the topic for the day. So you don't want to miss any part of it. Stay with us. Starting from the Daily Trust this morning. On the Daily Trust, we have this one. How PSC, NPF dispute stores recruitment of 10,000 police. Only writers to the story, only 20,000 instead of 60,000 picked in 6 years. Insecurity lingers due to lack of coordination. At National Assembly must wade in. Right, details of that you find on page 4 of the Daily Trust for this morning. Or still on the Daily Trust, we have this one: 2 killed as police pro-Fubara youths clash in Rivers. Yes, Rivers is one place this morning that might not be having it so peaceful due to these clashes here and there. But I think if the rule of law is allowed to prevail, we wouldn't be having this crisis.
Well, I think that's what you find when what prevails is gangsterism in the political arena. What prevails is godfatherism taken too far in the political arena. What you also find happening now is what you should expect when the rule of law is not really respected. Because the Constitution is clear about the term of, the tenure of local government chairman, councillors and vice chairman. And so it shouldn't have caused any issue if there are no political undertone and avariciousness, all this, I'm being careful not to even use strong words, but it does not make any sense when you find those who are supposed to cooperate for the advancement and development of a place now having what is best described as irresponsible power tussle, and the people will have to pay dearly for it.
The people are paying for
because
it.
Because that's always the issue. Whatever is destroyed in this crisis, it's not even protest. It is crisis for me. So whatever gets destroyed in this, it is still the taxpayers' money that will be used to replace or repair such.
Or when it's not even replaced or repaired, the taxpayers suffer the lack of such amenities. Well,
so that's the problem. I just hope that the powers that be higher than the one there would take drastic steps. I am sure that you remember during the Obasanjo administration, when there is a lacuna in any state, that the institutions were working quite very well. They step in fact, as far as declaring state of emergency in certain places.
But even these instances that you are mentioning, some people would still say it's a matter of higher power against certain powers.
I understand your point, but I just hope that whatever it is that's playing out, the federal government must not fold its arms and be looking at loss of lives and problems. For God's sake, a police officer got killed in this problem yesterday.
The federal government waits in now. It could be, people may say it's taking sides and what have you. I think the judiciary has to also do some clarification on this.
The judiciary is not a Father Christmas.
We have the
judiciary
constitution there, and that's what I'm saying.
The judiciary will adjudicate on matters brought before it. That's the role of the judiciary.
Some of these things are also in the court.
So there must be a way that someone will responsibly wade in. Whether it will be the police authorities, in this case, there's a whole issue. How can you say that some policemen are loyal to Wike, some are loyal to... Their loyalty should be to
the state.
So I don't understand why we're having this imbroglio and impasse in Rivers State. There must be responsibility.
It has actually uncalled for because the Constitution has following it. If states are not governed at the whims and caprice of whoever is at the helms of affair at a particular time, we wouldn't be where we are. Let's move on, please, because the discussion is inexhaustible.
When individuals are stronger than institutions, you find this kind of a problem.
And I guess that is the situation across the country.
I dare say Wike should not be greater than the Constitution of Nigeria. I dare say Fubara should not be greater than the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I dare say that the local government chairman, no matter where their loyalty swings, should not be greater than the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. When that is about to happen, the police authorities should be responsible and reasonable enough to wade in and say, look, we will. That's what they swore to do. That's what the government also swore an oath to do. We must all come together and uphold the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the sanctity of human life. Someone is serving Nigeria and then got killed just because of some irresponsible political.
Selfish, you know. All right, we'll move on. Still on Daily Trust, we have this one, page 29 says, tax evasion. Private jets owners jostle to beat 30-day deadline. What did you explain? I think they're rich enough to have the private jet. So, well, that's on their side. You find details of that on page 29 of the Daily Trust this morning. APC wants Kwankwaso arrested over inciting comments. You find details of that on page 10 of the Daily Trust. I guess that must have to do with some other issues of part also there. Well, that will be all from the Daily Trust this morning.
Right, taking a check, stories making headlines, the Daily Independent newspaper this morning. You'll find these stories, of course, Rivers Council's tenure crisis still leading the pack in the Daily Independent newspaper. Policemen, vigilante, die as youths protest return of ex-local government chairman. Pull down Wike's statue at Obio Council headquarters. Fubara asks heads of administration to take charge of local governments, vows to protect Rivers people, condemns plan to arrest supporters, plots to retain seats after end of tenure treasonable. That's coming from Reps. See details of the stories on page 29 of the Daily Independent newspaper of this morning. So much has been said on that crisis. Let's move on. FG announces readjustment criteria for awards of oil blocks. All right, you find that on the front page of the Daily Independent newspaper of this morning. Rail tracks vandalism, theft of electric cables, acts of sabotage. That's coming from Tinubu, the president of Nigeria. Then many other stories there. Let's find on page 7. PDP National Legal Advisor denies sabotaging party in Rivers Assembly lawmakers case. That's on page 7. On page 6, APC tackles Kwankwaso over claim FG is creating new Boko Haram terrorists. That's on page 6 of the Daily Independent newspaper of this morning. Of course, you also find pictures, okay, just a picture I must say, from the Ojudioba festival in Ijebu. Honestly speaking, it was a colorful, very, very colorful event. Labour Party cautions Tinubu against mocking Nigerians with hardship. You find that there. Then Lagos floats smart health information platform for patients data management. That's on page 6 of the Daily Independent newspaper. Why controlled flights straight into restricted airspace in Abuja. That's on page 7 of the Daily Independent newspaper of this morning. These are many more you'll find there. Please do check.
Alright, on the Nigerian Tribune this morning, we have this one. Rivers. 2 killed as chaos erupts over forceful takeover of councils. Usual youth protest, continued stay in office of local government chairman, destroy Wike's statue. Fubara meets security chiefs. Governor directs administrative heads to take charge of local governments. Police take over council secretariats. And we have this one too. G60 lawmakers ask government to file treason suit against 23 ex-council bosses. You have the details of that on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune as well, because we've taken that in all the newspapers we've taken earlier. And still on the Nigerian Tribune, we have this one on page 12 of the Nigerian Tribune, I beg your pardon, page 13. We all need change of mindset for Nigeria to make progress, says Tinubu. It says, no matter how difficult it is, I will not turn my back on Nigeria. Okay, and have this one on page 4. Reps to debate bill seeking termination of election petitions at appeal court. We have on page 6 FG and Africa. Okay, that's commercial. Let's move on. Also, we have this one on page 13. Kwankwaso APC trade words over Kano Emirate tussle. Details of that is on page 13 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. And finally, on the Nigerian Tribune, I have this one. Okay, I have this one. Yes, that would be all. All the commercial, please.
All right, let's check the Nigerian News Direct. The Nigerian News Direct this morning also comes with some stories. Lagos State Government launches electronic medical record system for patients' data. You find that in the Nigerian News Direct, of course, on page 21. You are responsible for unleashing poverty on Nigerians. LP Atiku berates Tinubu. You find that on the front page of the Nigerian News Direct. PDP APC members clash in Ile-Ife, scores injured. That's also on page 21 of the Nigerian News Direct. Of course, the story on Rivers crisis is also on the front page. Rivers local government crisis deepens, bloody as 2 feared dead. Fubara summons security meeting, vows to subdue intimidation. Reps demand treason trial of ex-LG chairman, accuse them of forceful attempts to retain seats. IPAC backs Fubara, commends heads of local government administration takeover. Focus on FCT duties, avoid Rivers politics. Edwin Clark tells Wiki. Those are the details of the stories you find on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct of this morning. That does it.
Alright, from the Nigerian News Direct, let's take a look at the leadership. On leadership this morning, we have this one still on Rivers State. It says tension in Rivers. Fubara, Council Chairman flex muscles over tenure expiration. 3 killed as Governor summons Emergency Security Council meeting. I would vacate Secretariat. Inquiry local government boss vows. Opposition reps want council chairman charged for treason. Let's keep our fingers crossed and see how this story unfolds. But as Sunday said earlier, we hope that our people who have authority over this matter, would actually swing in now before it gets bloodier. And business of that is on page 10 of the leadership for this morning. Still on the leadership, Emirates law. Kano Assembly approaches Court of Appeal. That's details of that you also find on page 64 of the leadership. That's another needless crisis, in Kano State. And from there we check on page 14. Bauchi Governor wants Hajj operations decentralized. Details of that we find on page 14. It's still on the leadership. Boss City of Funds threatens 200,000 BPD modular refinery projects. Details of that is on page 11, I beg your pardon, of the leadership this morning. And on this one you have Nigeria learning passport readies in reaches 1 million subscribers, as according to UNICEF. Details of that is on page 11 as well. NUPRC extends 2024 licensing bid registration by 10 days. Details of that on page 69. And finally, you have this one on page 11 as well. FG, not creating new Boko Haram terrorists. APC replies Kwankwaso. Find details of that on page 11. And on page 70, entrepreneurs kick over proposed minimum wage. I think the discussion on minimum wage will continue shortly as the work resumes today.
Right, let's check the Punch newspaper of this morning. The Punch newspaper also has some stories for us, leading with the Rivers crisis. Cop killed as youths dislodge pro-Wike local government chairman. Fubara meets security chiefs, warns against arrest of his supporters. Police take over 23 local government secretariats to forestall violence. You find that on the front page of the Punch newspaper of this morning. FG offers 17 new oil blocks for bidding. That's on page 20 of the Punch newspaper. $72 million diversion. Reps panel summons Ajib, NNPC, others. That's on page 29. Then revenue generating agencies, OFG, over 3 trillion naira. That's coming from FARC. On page 29, you find the details of that story. Kano Emirate, Senate denies alleged emergency rule. NBA probes lawyers. That's on page 18 of the Punch newspaper. Then you find FG seeks UNESCO recognition for Ojudioba Festival. That's the colorful event in all states.
It's deserving, really.
Cholera, WHO, UNICEF hold emergency meeting. Experts warn coppers. That's find that also on page 18. So core members have been warned and placed on red alert as far as cholera is concerned. And I'm sure that you will not want to take your health for granted at this point in time. Embrace hygiene and do your best to avoid cholera outbreak. Okay, and Saraki Abdurazak trade words over Ilorin Doba attendance. That's on page 16 of the Punch newspaper of this morning.
All right, from the Punch, let's check what's on the Guardian this morning. On the Guardian newspaper, we have this one. Rivers in turmoil as Fubara pro-Wike factions battle for LGAs. Details is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. And we have this one as well. Nigeria in race against time as fresh cholera outbreak kills 30 in 30 states. Does that mean one in each state? Oh, well, check. You want to know? You find details on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Prioritize Mabila power projects like Calabar Coastal Road. We say that. Find out on page 29 of the Guardian newspaper. And this one, passport or report. 300 Nigerian millionaires may migrate in 2024. Millionaires also migrating? I thought the migration was about seeking for greener pastures. So to be a millionaire means you're already dwelling in some kind of green pasture. What are you looking for?
Greener pasture.
Green. Okay, so details of that you find on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. And we have this one. NAFDAC says cooked food in fridge beyond 3 days is harmful. Yes, for those of you who are in the habit of storing up soup and whatever you cook for the week. Some ladies will tell you, I cook for the week. I don't meant to do that, especially.
I don't know what you're trying to inject, but then no comment from me.
No comment, yeah. But please take it as an advice, especially at the news of the outbreak of cholera here and there. I guess that's why NAFDAC is warning that food stored in the freezer beyond 3 days becomes harmful. Check details of that on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper as well. Kano Emirates law. Assembly leaves proceedings for court, for appeal court. You find details of that on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. Kano Emirates law. What does the law say? Why is the law not being followed? If the law is followed, we would be talking about this crisis in the first place. And we have this one, Abuja CCTV project. More questions than answers for $460 million contract 14 years after. You find new analysis on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And still on the Guardian, for Tinubu's economic policies to achieve desired results. Well, what are those things that needs to be considered? It's an editorial that's on page 12 of the Guardian newspaper. And with that, we'll wrap it up on the newspaper's headlines for this morning. We'll take a short break now. When we return, to be time for discussion of the day, and you don't want to miss out because it's going to be on your health and how you can stay safe, in this time. Stay tuned.
Anything that you're trying to trace, when did it start, or how did it emerge, or where did we go wrong, you have to start from the beginning. You realize that by the time we got independent and we had a structured civil service that was literally copied from the British system, people were very contented. They were specifically trained to either be secretaries, to be admin officers. Cadres are very straightforward. Technical people are doing their technicalities with the supervision and leadership of a bit of the colonial masters. And everything was fairly okay. Those early civil servants were not particularly hungry to enrich themselves. They were not greedy. And they were fairly looked after. And in those days, even when people retire, you will find that they never had anything. There are people who retire and they only depend on their pension and so on and so forth. But certainly nowadays that's not the case. The motivation, the morale boosting, the consideration of the civil servant to be looked after, I think is getting weaker and weaker. Now where we are is civil servants, there's no housing for civil servants. Yes, there are programs here and there trying to build owner-occupiers and so on and so forth, but the impact is not as strong as it used to be. There used to be vehicle loans for civil servants. I don't think that is there anymore. And the salary reviews, the disparity. Look at an NNPC worker who probably could be on the same level as somebody in the mainstream Ministry of Petroleum. The disparity of their salary, even their drivers, is very, very wide. I know of some parastatals where the lowest paid people, like drivers and so on and so forth, are earning more than assistant directors, deputy directors. So that disparity also creates some kind of hunger for doing the wrong thing. Then you start asking questions. How come whether it's a politician or a civil servant who is on this salary scale, has this house, has this type of cars, whose children are schooling outside, who is going into private hospital, and so on and so forth? The answer certainly will be there must be some kind of extra income somewhere, and unfortunately most of it comes through corrupt practices. There is no way the political leadership will get away in service with any corrupt practice without the padding of the civil servant. He knows the tricks of budgeting. He knows the tricks of implementing without implementing. He knows the tricks of expenditure without spending, and so on and so on. He can be able to package reports of things that were done that has not been done. And literally, that is where the system has found itself. And unless we minimize this manual way of doing things and go digital, it will be very, very difficult to pick the people who are breaking the rule. But we also have to look at the remunerations. We have to look at the ways of life. We have to balance things. We have to do everything to ensure that people become more efficient. When you are engaged more and you are efficient, I think the tendencies to now break the law will become less. These are very simple things if we are prepared to learn from others, but it becomes difficult if we just close our eyes and close our ears. And certainly COVID is showing us that you can steal if you like, you can accumulate anything you like, but there is a point when the accumulated, the stolen will not help you. It is because if your hospitals is not good and COVID hits you and you can't travel to another person's hospital, that money will not repair you. That money will not treat you.
Glad to know you're still with us on AM today. While we went to that break, I promised that when we return, we'll be talking about something about this on your health and the current outbreak of cholera, in the country. So we're looking at the cholera outbreak, and we're looking at Ondo State, preparedness or response to the news. And to discuss this with us this morning is Mrs. Dolapo Fanukun. She's Ondo State. She's the director, yes, on the State of Publication from Ministry of Health. So it's nice to have you, madam.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. All right, the news broke on the 9th of June 2024. Lagos was the first place to be declared, to have this outbreak, and quite a number of casualties has been recorded. For instance, this morning we read that 30 people, from 30 states have died as a result of cholera. For us in Ondo State, do we have any incidents for now?
To God be the glory. We've not recorded any day or any casual cases in Ondo State. The only one we had was around January, 2 patients from Okitipupa LGA, and for early presentation, they came to our head facility and we treated them. They are okay. So there's no problem, no outbreak as at this time, this morning as I'm talking.
Okay, no outbreak in Ondo State.
Ondo State, yes.
All right. But are there measures that are put in place to ensure that we do not have an outbreak now that it's spreading, 30 states across the country? That means we have just 6 states left, probably the FCT, to have an incident of the outbreak.
Yes, the government of Ondo State, through the Ondo State Ministry of Health, from the Office of the Honorable Commissioner for Health, Dr. Banji Ajaka, and our active case search, they are across all the 18 LGA, moving from one ward to the other, across the 2 or 3 wards we have in Ondo State, searching for the cases of cholera. And apart from that, we have our public enlightenment, like the one we are doing now, and then community engagement, engaging the community. Most of these cases of cholera comes from grassroots area. So through our community dialogue, then through the market sensitization, house-to-house sensitization. So we have embarked on all this, and then across all our health facility, we have the cholera kits there. So if anybody has the reported case of cholera, we are set to treat them. Like I've told you earlier, early presentation will make an individual to get over it. Cholera is not a big deal. It's something so hard, unlike the Lassa fever viral infection. This one is a bacterial infection caused by Vibrio cholerae. Is easy to treat once the patient presents early.
Now, I understand that Ondo State isn't having an outbreak, so to say, currently, but that does not mean that the state should not be prepared well ahead, because they say prevention is better than cure.
Yes.
I'd like to know, what is the state of health facilities currently now that you are on the red alert, that this is because something affecting 30 states already, like the others will say, something killing others is just sending a warning signal to the rest. So what is the state of preparedness of health facilities, especially at the rural areas?
Yes, we've trained all our health workers on infection prevention and control. Last month, through the Federal Ministry of Health on Co-Prep program, so we've trained a lot of our health workers across the 18 LGs, and the training is still ongoing. And apart from that, we have our emergency operational center. We are not limiting to health facility alone. How about the relevant LG that can assist us to communicate? So we converge at this emergency operation center, which comprises of the relevant MDs. We have the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Agric, Environment, water, sanitation. Then across all this information, they are all there. The security, we are all present there. Even the National Orientation Agency personnel, the partners, World Health Organization, UNICEF representative, they are all there. We convert together. Then we have about 6 pillars. The surveillance pillars, they are on their toes now across the 18 edges. So we have all the designated desk officers across the 18 edges, and they are part of the LGA team members. So like I've told you, we have 203 wards. We have our community informants apart from the disease surveillance officers. So those community informants, they are across each wards. Once they have the case of diarrhea and vomiting now, we go straight to the health facility. Like I've told you, we have we prepared the cholera kits. That is, once the patient presents early, you know, the most common cases of cholera is this diarrhea, loss of water, electrolytes in the body. And immediately, once we start with the ORS, and if the case is out of hand, then we set infusion. The patient will get better. So all our health facilities, we are up to date to take care of the cases of cholera. Is well equipped.
So if you talk about all your health facilities being in place to handle the incidents, does that include the primary healthcare facilities knowing that they are the closest to the grassroots?
Yes, I'm talking about the primary healthcare facilities.
Okay.
So if you move around across all our healthcare facilities, you will see that they are well equipped. The state government have equipped all the health facility in preparedness for any outbreak of diseases.
Government is always quick to set up committees and teams to undo issues when they crop up. That for me is reactive and not proactive, if you agree with me. But better doing something than not doing anything at all. But I want to know, you mentioned representatives from the Ministry of Environment,
Information,
water resources,
education
and all. Water resources.
Yes.
Now, my question is this. schools across the country, maybe just many of them, maybe not all of them, have been on holiday for midterm, Salah holiday and all of that. They will now be converging on their schools today. What's the state of preparedness of schools in Ondo State? This, interestingly, you mentioned the Ministry of Education as part of that team. So, what exactly are you doing to ensure that, through congregation and convergence, there could also be a spread, as it is very contagious? You agree with me?
Yes.
So, what are you doing to ensure that there is no outbreak of this disease among school children?
Yes, we've started with our sensitization, school sensitization. So we started with the PTAs, the forum for this PT. Like I've told you, one of the desk officer from Ministry of Education is part of our committee at the EOC, Emergency Operations Center. So we started with the sensitization of the PTAs. Then we are about embarking on the school, moving around all the schools now for sensitization. So what we plan to do now is just to group them senatorial across the 18 LGA. Then we carried out this community and the sensitization simultaneously. So what we do, Akure, we normally have our school sensitization at the LGA, this Akure Secretariat LGA. Then Okitipupa, we pick Okitipupa at the center for the Southern Senatorial, Ekare for the Northern Senatorial. So across, we have all this plan on our table now to start the school sensitization with the distribution of the IEC, information, education, communication materials on ground. We have them in the ministry. So
how about those who bring food to these children in schools, food vendors and all of that? Because we're talking about a waterborne disease, we're talking about a very contagious disease. It's good to sensitize. How about monitoring to ensure that food brought to these children are produced or prepared in a hygienic environment and all of that? You are not looking in that direction, are you?
Yes, we are not relenting on our effort. Every week, every day, we've conducted the training for the food vendors. We have the Department of Family Health and Nutrition handling that one, and then each of these vendors, food vendors that are preparing food, not only for the school children, we normally carried out investigation on their system to know whether this one is fit to cook for the school children, whether this one is fit to cook for the public. So at the IDH, we normally carried out the investigation of all these food vendors, so to ensure they are suitable to prepare food for the public.
It's actually nice to know that there's an investigation on the food vendors, because I was going to say children are in the habits of eating street foods, buy all sort of street foods to consume, and that could be a venue for the spread of cholera. Good that that's be taken care of. But now let's look at the area of sensitization. It's one thing to set up committee when there is an outbreak, and it's another thing to have a standby, continuous avenue for sensitization for the locals and food vendors and whoever, stakeholders in general. Is it a continuous, you just have it as occasion, when the occasion arises?
Thank you. Like I've told you, our community engagement is throughout the year. We are just coming out from the episode of Lassa Viva. So we have the structure across all the ATNGs, even not only in Ondo State, across the 36 states of the Federation plus FCT. So I'm the national president for the health education and promotion across the Nigeria. So in Ondo State, we have all these our health educators across the 18 LGA And then from time to time, they carried out this sensitization, community engagement, market sensitization, and then they normally mounted their public addressing system on the hilos. Okay. We have the jingles on ground. Even I have the jingle of cholera. I have it even inside my phone now. So after leaving this place now, maybe I'll drop it. Then at least occasionally you can help us at least to hear it. So we have all this across the 80 NGOs, and it's ongoing.
What's the place of market women?
Market women. We normally hold meeting with them. We have what we call social mobilization committee members across the 80 NGOs, and this meeting is being held quarterly, like the one in the States now. Like I've told you, we have them, which comprises all the relevant MDs that has to do with health, at least the public health of the people. So we have them, and then we conduct this meeting quarterly. And thank God the government has been releasing funds for us to hold this meeting. So after we converge at the State Ministry of Health conference, or they will go back to sensitize their people. So we have all these structures across the 18 LGs. It makes it so easy for us anytime we have an emergency disease response like this. It makes it so easy, and we have our rapid response team on ground. So they are on their toes. When they hear that there is outbreak of certain diseases, you see them moving across all the communities, even in the wars.
Mrs. Fanopo, so that we avoid the risk of analysis paralysis, let's be very specific in our conversation. I'm interested in the aspect of water provision towards containing a possible outbreak. Interestingly, you said as a representative of the Ministry of Water Resources in your committee. So yes. I want to peep into your committee. What are you really doing in the area of provision of potable water to the people so that they are not resorting to unhealthy water, unhygienic water for food preparation, for drinking and all, so as we are not standing at the risk of infection?
It's still based on this communication. Like those people at the grassroots, most especially those people that goes to the stream, what we advise them, yes, they can divide this stream into 3 parts. The first part, which is above, we advise them they can drink that one. The middle, they can use it for watching. And then the last one, whether they want to defecate, they can defecate on that one. You know that one will move away. So we continue to communicate with them that they should not drink from the middle except the one at the top. And then you are talking about the provision of potable water. At least to some extent, the government have made provision for this across the 18 LGs. I can say it. If you have time, just move around. We have all this.
Are you saying there is no community that's having a challenge of water in Ondo State?
And like I have told you, they have, but all those people where they have those challenges, but they have the stream. At least they have one source of getting their water. So we moved there to sensitize them. Once you have this stream in place, divide it into 3 parts.
When was the last time you went to those grassroots rural areas?
And nearly every time we do move out, even apart from our own pillar, we leverage on other programs like the non-tropical diseases. When they move out, we ask them, please communicate with these people on the issue of water sanitation. And we advise them, if at all you are going to drink this water, ensure you boil it. Most especially around that Sanda Senatorial district. You know, a lot of water there, and you know people when they are tired, they can just say, let me just stay. We advise them, before you drink this water, ensure you boil it, allow it to cool before you drink. Because through the high temperature, the vibrio chloride will die.
So what's the level of collaboration between your ministry
Yes.
and the Waste Management Authority? Because effective waste management is also something critical in this conversation.
Yes. Yes, we are collaborating. They are part of our committee, steering
It's one thing
committee
for them
members.
to be part of your
I know.
committee. It's another thing to do what will help in the prevention of this outbreak.
All this has to do with personal and environmental hygiene, and there's no way you cannot share this waste management, because they have to pack all the waste and dispose appropriately. Like I've told you, we are just coming out from the Lassa Fever outbreak. So even up to last week, we are still on our toes together with the Waste Management Authority. They are working with us. We are collaborating. So that relationship, collaboration is so strong. We are together.
You're together. I guess what Sunday is trying to say is that, are you by any means monitoring and working on them to make sure that their services is effective across the states? Because there are complaints from certain quarters, certain streets that will say, oh, for almost a year now, we haven't seen waste management come to our area.
And they are working. They are working to some extent too. They are working. They are packing all this waste too. Now, first time in the history of Ondo State about the outbreak of Lassa fever, our reporting cases gradually just came down. And it is because of the effort of all this waste management authority. So, they are working.
Okay.
I can say to some extent they are working. Because we monitor their activities too. They are part of our pillar. We have environmental pillar there. We have waste management personnel as part of our emergency operations center. And nearly every week, like today, once I finish from this now, I'm entering into the emergency operations center meeting. And they are part of us. They are working. They will give the report.
Well, before I leave you to Shade, my last shot for you.